Hi there. We're together with the Gauntlet community, and this is played in the AsPac time zone. And we're playing the amazing game Space Wurn versus Moonicorn by Johnstone Metzger. I have said in the past, love this game. There's so much neat about it. It's a variation on Dungeon World, but Johnstone did so much more, made it so much bigger and complex and wonderful, beautiful little Easter eggs throughout the whole thing. And he did something I really adore. He made a quick play version. So you can play it normal style and do it in campaign. He made a quick start version that still brings in all of that feel in a much shorter time frame. We're playing in 4 sessions. Our first one was a session 0, in effect, where we set up our fronts, where we set up our characters. And this game has several fronts: ours are religion, interstellar transport, which Space Wurn control, the Imperial Throne, aliens, and spice, which are up there as troubled and open fronts. When we have fronts that are controlled by Space Wurn is able to dictate and use them as she will. The other 3 are going to produce troubles, and those troubles manifest as something that is trying to either wrest control of the galaxy from Space Wurn, or which Space Wurn needs to be able to better keep her claws holding on to the galaxy. And also, it means that each of these fronts will have something or some reason to be chasing after Moonicorn, either to use Moonicorn for their own purposes, or because they venerate Moonicorn and want them to come and be their leader. However it goes, each of these fronts want the wonder and beauty that is our Moonicorn. If at any point Space Wurn has managed to conquer all 3 of these fronts, Space Wurn wins the game. Or if at any point Moonicorn has managed to tell these fronts, nope, I have nothing more to do with you, and their hunters have stopped hunting after him, then Moonicorn wins the game. In this quick play, there is almost no chance that's going to happen. We will instead deal with a couple of fronts, I bet, and I would like, ideally, I'll have somehow put a little string through so we see what was coming from all 3 fronts. But my guess is we'll get through maybe 2. I want to say before we start that this is a Gauntlet game, and so the Gauntlet inclusivity policy is in effect, which is there to protect us all and make sure that we're having a good time, and we're all friends here. We're all trying to support each other and make this the best experience for each of us. Also, we have the X card on the table. Feel free, if you do not know it, make motion like this, put something in the chat, say something to me. If there's something that's problematic, if there's something that, is just saying, this is really hurting my fun, or I think I'd rather us fade to black on this, or can we avoid doing that? Please feel free to use it. It is for all of us. It is never going to be a problem. I may ask for a quick clarification, just so I can pull back the scene, reframe, and off we go. I have always said that, there are no questions asked, but I have recently started saying as well, if there is something that you want to say about it, if there's something you feel like you need to express, that is also available. You can do that. Take a moment to do that here in game. You can put something in the chat, or you can write to me or use our event. But you should always feel free to be able to express whatever you need to or want to. But feel free to use the X card. It's there for all of us. It's there to make us all feel comfortable. That said, I sort of doubt we're going to go into most of the things I find problematic. Things like sexual abuse, abuse of children, or harm to animals. All 3 of those are generally things I keep off the table. I don't see Space Wurn versus Moonicorn going in that direction anyway. Is there anything in particular before we start that either any of you would like to keep off the table? All right. Again, if anything comes up during play, please feel free. Yes, Ellen.
I'll just throw out waves and drowning and that kind of thing.
All right.
No scary water.
Okay. We can certainly avoid that. All right, then. So I think we're ready to to hear about our amazing characters and introduce. Last time around, I had our first four that will introduce their characters, and we're being joined by Tomer here, who, thank goodness, I'm very happy to have Tomer play. We don't get to play often enough together. I think we've only done it like once, if even once. So I'm super happy to get to play with you and all the rest of you. I love and adore, so I'm just glad to see y'all again anytime. But let's go ahead and have everybody introduce themselves, and we're going to start, and it's conveniently enough along my strip of screen, who we almost always will start off with Space Wurn. Please introduce yourself.
I am the resplendent first mother. I have beautiful, tough, opalescent skin. My skin and my dark hair and eyes are so beautiful that you will not be able to tell how old I am. I am ageless and beyond years. And this universe will soon be under my complete control.
Excellent. Excellent. And Space Wurn, I'm going to just real quick, or the Resplendent Mother, I suppose I should keep the real title here in place. I'm going to mention that in this quick play version, you have only one stat, which is power, because you are power. And you will be using it. It will be a commodity, goes up and down. Whenever you are in a place of your power and strength, it goes back up to its max. And whenever you use it, you'll drop it down. And we have, for you, you have taken as your special move, the Collector, which means that you have a collection of many valuable items. What kind of items are these, Resplendent Mother?
These are a vast array of figurines made out of various materials, some semi-precious, some as common as dirty old wood. And I may have procured these through some means that some might find uncomfortable, but it is there.
Excellent. Wonderful. And as a consequence of having this, there is always something that anyone who sees it will want, that Space Wurn can use to twist their intentions. All right. Next, we're going to go to you, Lauren, and our lover. Can we introduce that person?
Next to go in second. I will be playing Cypress Springgrove, who goes by he, they. Cypress Springgrove, for all intents and purposes, looks a bit like a tree person. Very warm hands, smoldering eyes, not shy, very tactile and very nurturing. They were once I guess employed is probably the most neutral verb you could attach to it, by the Imperial folks as a grunt who was sent out to make sure people paid on their fines, as their people have a reputation for being quite brutish and intimidating given their size. But in reality, Cypress is quite a peaceful, sweet person, and found that line of work incredibly difficult. And since then has fled their state of employment, found Moonicorn, who they're incredibly smitten with. Moonicorn just radiates such warmth and light that is like the sun. So even when 'tis nighttime and we're outside of a sun's orbit, I feel at home. And I feel nurtured and comforted. Their presence is so important to me. However, I find myself impressed by Space Worm, for Space Worm seeks to overthrow the power that kept me indebted for so many years. And I have to marvel at one woman's perseverance, strength, and courage to take on an institution that made me feel like a twig.
Magnificent. Like a twig. Aww. And your stats, you have love, peace, and war, showing that duality or that strange paradox that is our lover. And we'll go through your bonds once we get to, you know, some of that. Other than we've already seen that split heart with Space Worm, the resplendent mother, and with Moonicorn, who will be introducing himself, but I'll go ahead and be a spoiler and say Owain is Moonicorn's name. And you took as your special move Spooked, which may be one of my favorite the whole game, where when you run into the arms of another or they run into your arms, the whole galaxy goes, "Aw," and you can't be hurt, and marvelous things happen, and the music swells, and Anakin and Padme run across a flowery meadow. I mean, it's something.
I can't wait to hug everyone. I'm sorry, Cypress is going to be very touchy-feely, so I please flag in advance if you don't want them like touching your character a lot, because there's probably going to be a lot of touching.
All right. Next, we're going to go to Lou with our alien queen. Please introduce her.
Okay. So the alien queen, I think she's got some sort of incomprehensible long name. I think it's kind of like an ent name, you know, one of those names that takes like a couple of days to say, but she's commonly known as the iridescent purple she. And she's, what we know about her is that she is possibly the last queen of her species, and that they were perhaps like wiped out in some sort of war or something like that, and were meant to have been entirely wiped out, I guess. But there's she's the one little fragment remaining, and so I think she's actually quite a young queen, and she's got a what do I call them? A brood. She's got a brood of about 12 various ants that are probably for different purposes. Yeah, and I'm kind of picturing her, I don't know, I'm kind of picturing her in some sort of big like cavern underneath, maybe surrounded by unhatched eggs, and you know, this brood kind of fussing around her, and I'm kind of imagining that she's maybe I think the back of her body is quite large, you know, it's like a small truck, but the front of her, she has that kind of humanoid torso. And I think if anyone were to meet her, she does have some strange alluring thing about her, whether it's a pheromonal thing, that it's like it's a bit of a hallucination or something, or there's something going on there anyway. Mesmerizing, kind of sexy ant woman. Yeah, that's it.
Excellent. Ooh, sexy ant queen. I love it. Your stats, we have alien, we have brood, and we have queen, which will be what you're using. The alien queen has kind of the effect of a lot of what you'll be doing is you're doing it through your brood, and that's reflected in your moves. And you have your special move you've taken, which is telepathy. So you can communicate with your brood no matter where and without the permission of Space Worm. You could talk to your brood however you wish. And we'll do bond stuff here just a second after everybody's introduced. And last but certainly not least of our returning players is that most wondrous of all things in the galaxy, Moonicorn. Ryan, will you introduce yourself?
Yes, I'm Owen, the last of the Moonicorns. I have a single pearlescent horn, which is very striking, and sort of unfortunately tied into a Space Worm's or our resplendent first mother's, and I'm going to use her proper title. It's religion. A magnificent flowing mane, a warm, trusting gaze, and sort of a subtle sparkle to my skin and hair. Back in the days when there were many of the Moonicorns, they had the striking silvery grays and the beautiful paints, but I am but a Palomino, got kind of golden skin, washed out blonde hair, and that's basically what there is to me, I guess. Oh, my only stat is integrity, too, because I am very pure at heart.
Exactly. And with your integrity, much like Space Worm, it's a commodity that you'll be having go up and down, and when you do wondrous things, you'll get more, and when you have to do difficult things, you'll lose some of it. And you took as your special move, Speak from the Heart. You can communicate effectively with anyone and everyone in your presence, no matter what they are, alien, animal, or human. Of course, Moonicorn is our light of freedom across the galaxy. Now, Tomer, would you like to introduce and let's start building your Serpent Princess?
Sure. So I have Kedua, and Kedua is so like our resplendent mother, who I believe has opalescent skin, right? And that's like this. I'm guessing it's kind of like a shiny type of skin.
Yeah, think of the inside of like an abalone shell.
Nice. So Kedua looks a little bit different. She also has a very distinct skin kind of tone and color, but it's sparkling. So instead of like these kind of like washes of color, it's just almost like glitter, right? And she looks young, humanoid looking, right? A little bit of almost like a young woman, like very young woman. Like she could be just turned into like what we would consider an adult, right? But instead of, it's hard to know what color her eyes and her hair are because she constantly dyes them different colors or different shades of color. I think that's probably in contrast to our resplendent first mother, who I believe always has dark hair and dark eyes, right? And so I think this is a form of rebellion that she takes.
Oops, I'm muted. Sorry. That's fantastic. You have the power, the stats of power, scales, and skin, and your power stat will be one of those currency ones. It'll have chances to go up and down. And everybody has different basic moves in this game. And you'll see you have an assess, which is kind of looking things over. Doing something dangerous is when you go out there and get something risky. Others, it's when, orders, when you're making decisions on how you're working with Space Worm, or when you're commanding other people, there will be effects there. Your power, you can use Space Worm's command power. And we have that on the character keeper, so you can look over and see the resplendent mother's command power, and you can use it when you have your power at +1 or higher. When you suffer harm is a try to avoid damage move, and try to convince. I want to mention real quick, because I'm not sure if people have done this. You'll note, I see you've put in your stats, Tomer, and everyone else has. But I think you still have a +1 you get to add to any stat.
Right. I forgot about that.
And I think, Lou, you might have that as well. I don't know if you added your +1 in, did you? And I'm looking to see if you did, Lauren. I don't think you did as either, Lauren. So all of you should, the three of you should have a stat that you can increase by 1. All right. So, Tomer, let's first off ask about your inheritance. You would be Space Worm's heir and successor, but you're currently unfit for the role. Why is that?
I want to say it's that I don't have that level of maybe maturity and ability to command that level of presence, right? So maybe it feels like like I could be there someday, or when you first start in my presence, you're like, ooh, this is someone who could be this kind of icon or leader, in whether it's the religion or of people or of mind. But there's something lacking still. Like there's a level of immaturity and.
Okay, want to go with us putting down immaturity and using it, or do you think it's something like impurity, like you haven't reached that sort of?
I think that sounds much better. Impurity.
Okay.
I don't think it's immaturity in like personality. It's almost like just an immaturity in power, right? So yeah, I think impurity. Like I just haven't reached that level yet.
Because there is a certain something about the resplendent mother that pure in power, and maybe you're just not quite there. That's cool. I like that. Have you looked at the special moves, and do you have any of those that are calling to you?
Yes. So mine is called the Velvet Glove. When you get someone to do what you want without ordering them, you gain power.
Excellent. Very cool. And Gordon, again, your power will rise and fall because it's a commodity. Now we're going to talk about bonds, and we're going to pretty much do those fairly quickly. But I want to start with Space Worm, and Space Worm, all of yours are people that you treasure and people that you consider a commodity, just currency. So we have our Princess Kedua, your heir. First off, let's decide between the two of you. How do we think this relationship is? Space Worm, I'll ask you, do you think that this is your daughter by flesh or daughter by choice?
By choice.
By choice. All right, then. Tomer, why did the resplendent mother choose you as her heir? What did she see?
She saw someone that came from a similar... like a similar kind of background, right? So we share some qualities. She sees similarities between how she was when she was younger, and she didn't have, her station.
Gotcha. All right. Does that work for you, Ellen? You like that as the...
Yeah, I do.
Excellent. So now the question is, do you treasure Kedua, or is she just currency?
I'm really torn. Because I really like the idea of you thinking that you're treasure, but just being a plaything for me. But at the same time, oh, yeah, let's do that. Because I like the idea of me assigning an heir with the complete acknowledgement, not acknowledgement, with the complete utter belief that I'm never going to die. So, I will assign you as an heir that one day you'll be the resplendent first mother. One day.
Perfect. All right. So, our princess is just currency. Excellent. All right, then. Lauren, our lover, Cypress. Sarah, why don't you name off? We talked about your Space Worm and Moonicorn bonds. Why don't you name off your others and decide on one for Kedua?
Yes. So I believe I have an ongoing feud with iridescent purple she. For she got me into trouble.
I think it's that last one. She got you into trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that she is mean, and she thinks that I am violent.
Yep. Excellent.
My best friend and then some is Moonicorn, of course.
Excellent. And you can choose, and again, you can choose more. And if you see one now after hearing all of this, you want to add to someone else, but you definitely need to have at least one for our Serpent Princess.
Yes, I think. I kind of feel like I want her on my side. But
Excellent.
I don't think this is coming from a place of intellectualism or politics or anything rational. I think it's I think it's Cypress's propensity for liking shiny things and bright colored things, and sort of like as much as her hair is dyed and altered, there's something quite natural and pearlescent about her that is aesthetically pleasing.
All right, so almost an infatuation sort of thing.
I think so. I think I haven't seen anyone like her before, and that's fascinating.
Excellent. All right, there. Is that cool with you, Tomer? Sound like a good bond? Excellent. All right, then. Let's move over to Lou, and if you would tell us your bonds, and let's get one for the Serpent Princess.
Yeah. So I've got the Serpent Princess has been to my alien world, and I'm thinking it was perhaps on some sort of well, I've got a kind of paired one with Space Worm that Space Worm has promised to help get me what I want. So I think maybe that I've got a better look at what your name is. Kedua, that's right. Perhaps Kedua was sent as some sort of ambassador or something like that. So maybe she's the only one that's actually been down into my hive and seen my
so you're wanting to
form and everything.
Switch off Space Worm being who's been to your world and have it instead be Kedua.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah. Other than that, I mean, I'll quickly rehash them, but I haven't really changed anything. So I've got Cypress stood up to me and got away with it when I contacted the Empire for the first time. He was super rude to me and a dickhead, and yep. And then I got him in trouble, but also now I think that he's a dick. And Moonicorn has the same enemies as me, I decided.
Which was Space Worm.
Yeah, I think so. Who's now promising to give me what I want. But yeah, so I like being in that middle position.
I think you'd had a bit of distrust on Space Worm actually doing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's your
That's it.
bond.
Yeah.
Excellent. All right. I want to ask then real quick. First off, Purple She, how much of your planet, how much of your home did you show the princess? Is there something you kept hidden?
I think it's pretty barren and small. I'm kind of thinking it's like some sort of it's a asteroid or something, like a large barren asteroid. So I don't think there's heaps to hide. So I think Kedua probably just landed on the surface and was escorted into the the Queen's chamber.
Cool.
I guess. So I kind of like that she's seen everything that's there. That seems fun.
All right. And Kedua, when you went into this hive queen, this place, her brood around, what was it that frightened or excited you when you saw it?
I think what excited me is that we've communicated a little bit through proxy, right? Because the alien queen has never really left her home, right? So she normally communicates telepathically. And I think there was something about the way we communicated in person, and knowing that very few people do so, that where I did in some ways fall in love with her.
Nice. Lovely. Excellent.
Yeah,
excellent.
I was kind of thinking perhaps maybe that Kedua is the first person other than her brood essentially to have come into her, because just from the nerdy things I know about ants, right, they come out of their mother's nest, they fly, they mate in the air once, and then they fly to the ground, rip off their own wings, and dig down into their hive and start having the babies. So that's kind of, I like that idea that Kedua is the only being she's maybe talked to face to face. That's cool.
I love it. All right, Moonicorn. Owen, what are your bonds?
Currently, I have. Or are we just establishing one with Kedua?
No, you can go ahead and read off the ones you have.
Cool.
And establish
I was listening and totally lost track of what I was supposed to be doing. I have heard the most stories about the alien queen, or I guess now the iridescent purple she, and how amazing and powerful and grand she is. And they were definitely exaggerated by how many people they passed through. But she's still awesome. I am glad to have made her acquaintance. And I am most comfortable around Cypress Springgrove because they're also fond of deep emotion. I can see that they have some trouble expressing it at times, but they're also, very driven by feelings and heart and stuff, much as I am. And I owe our resplendent first mother companionship because she once saved me by repairing my horn when no one else could, because though the Moonicorns are lost, she's made of similar stuff and had the know-how I needed.
Who knows? That might have even been connected.
And I am trying to rescue Cypress from societal expectations and their job, because that is one boring, regimented world, and I'm here to shake things up. And if Kedwa's okay with it, sorry, correct that chat. Super space glue and pharmacology. If Kedwa is okay with it, I think that she's been my friend the longest, since she has a clear rebellious streak, and I am all about rebellion and doing what you want and love and friendship.
Yeah, I love it.
Okay.
Excellent. Well, then I'll ask Moonicorn. When did you first meet? How did that happen?
I think probably when had to. I'm not totally sure the circumstances and everything. I probably wasn't totally aware of everything that's going on when I had to have my horn repaired to save me. I during my recuperation period probably encountered Kedwa, who I'm sure was already rebellious and exciting and much more my wavelength than our resplendent first mother.
Oh, I think that's great. And I think maybe you can almost see like where we met. It looks like it's like a child's hospital, right? Like there's this young Moonicorn and, like he's kind of like healing from, this thing, right? And I think maybe you were already, like you were still kind of like in bed, like you couldn't get out yet, or, like all that whole process was going on. And I was like the shy child across the way in the next room over, or or maybe in the same room, like we had a separation. And so I would kind of come over and we would do like get into like trouble at night and that kind of stuff, right? Like we would start kind of like playing around with the boundaries that they had on us.
Yes, we're totally the mischievous people that they could not contain on the children's ward.
Oh, I love that. Oh, I love that. Okay, now let's do your bonds, Kedwa. You should have one for everyone, but you can have a couple for someone if you wanted to.
Okay, I'm gonna work my way backwards, like where we just started. So as far as Moonicorn, so Owain, I made him an impossible promise. And this was a promise when we were still young, right? So my personality has changed a little bit. Like I'm not like this little, I'm going to go and do all this things behind people's backs. Like I don't look like that's what I'm doing, right? Like this kind of, break the rules kid anymore. But back then when we were first meeting, I think he told me about the moon and how because you guys had a moon that exploded or something like that, right?
Yeah, I think something probably happened so that it's it's still hanging there in the sky, but kind of shattered and lost its atmosphere and that kind of stuff.
So I told you that I would replace your moon.
Oh, that's the perfect kid promise. I love it so much.
Oh my God, I love that. Okay. All right, your next bond.
All right. So let's go to the alien queen then, the iridescent purple she. So I think the question that I have that I want to attach to it is, who is the father of your child? So I think when I visited her planet, right, or her asteroid or whatever, her home, I think I lent, like I don't know that we could breed as far as like species, but I think I lent some amount of my own DNA, right? And she's used that, like when she's creating like her set of eggs or whatever, like maybe those are some experimental children or something like that.
Well, that makes me think perhaps that because of this whole like genocide that happened with her people, she was never able to breed in the air. And like ants can totally produce like asexually, even without breedings, but they can only produce like females. So perhaps you somehow like helped her with some part of your essence to like, be able to, become more viable or have something. I kind of like that. It's I
love it. Cool. Excellent. All right. Your next one, Tomer.
Okay. So let me see who's next in line here. Aha. So I have a question for Cypress Springgrove. I want to say that you introduced me to your family. But what does that look like? Are you okay? Like, how's that?
Yeah, totally. This is perhaps...
And I'll say this. I think when I met you, it was through knowing Moonicorn, right? Through Owain. So like, I knew him, and that's how I got to meet you. But and I think at first maybe I was a bit standoffish because I looked at you almost like as, wait, are you like a servant or something? Like I know you're a government servant. I know, like I didn't know where to place you, and maybe you were like, this is starting like that infatuation just from how I look, right? But I don't know. What would that have looked like? Like how would I have met your family?
Now I want to do something really weird. Because I was toying around with this idea last time when we were talking about interstellar space travel, because I dig that like perhaps there's some subversive form of interstellar transport that can kind of get around some of the things is it the Resplendent Mother?
My front is spice.
The Resplendent First Mother has. I think perhaps like an organic spaceship might be able to get around some of these things. I was pretty much trying to get the Saga spaceship in this game, pretty much, which looks super cool. I'll grab a photo. But long story short, I think this ship that I'm that picture of is Cypress's mother.
All right. Do we think maybe because again we have as a front for Space War, I don't want to. Holy crap! What was that?
Sorry, that was bad.
I don't want to overwhelm, take away Space Worm's front, which she has complete control over. But we do have established with our spice that it does some things that play with it, and that's an uncontrolled front. So do we think maybe that as your people, like your mother, as they get older and become these enormous organic can be like ships, that they absorb enough of the spice that they can kind of use it as a beacon to find the ways? It's just not easy and it's very rare sort of thing.
Yeah, totally. I love that. I think the ship is also just like a part of Cypress's mother. I think Cypress comes from just a tree. And this sort of like petrified wood that they are from sort of just like breaks off, and that's how they were born. So I like to think perhaps like the scene was to the effect of like, come, I shall introduce you to mother. And then I'm not sure what you were expecting, Kedua, but I like to think you get that shot of like Cypress like patting the tree or putting their hand to like the tree ship for it to open, and then like him greeting it as like mother. The ship welcomes him in, and that kind of I like to think that that's
yeah, totally. I think like I'm thinking, we're on this journey to go see your mother, right? Like, so I'm just kind of taken off
the
guard
mothership.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is the mothership.
All right, I think that's cool. And I will ask though to you, Ellen, real quick. Does this seem like it's throwing up against your interstellar transport? Do you think that there are certain things that can do this and you keep your eye on them? Or is this something you don't think Space Worm's aware of?
I think she has the feeling that people are moving around without her knowing how. And if she ever found out that she who is second to only one had ever boarded an unapproved vessel, she would be very upset and disappointed.
Lovely. Oh, fantastic. All right then. And Tomer, I think it's Space Worm. The Resplendent Mother is one you have left.
So I had Space Worm written next to this one. Let's see. So I think it is who made you a promise they have yet to deliver on. And I haven't really fleshed that out. So, do we have thoughts?
I have a couple of thoughts. The first one is like, I will give my kingdom or whatever it is over to you. And the second one that I'm just thinking is that I will reconnect you with your lost family.
Mm.
So I'll throw them out. Have you got any ideas?
Wow, those both sound kind of good. I mean, I think the first one feels a little like, okay, we already kind of maybe knew that, right?
Yeah.
Because like I'm kind of supposed to be this next in line thing. And I think, you have your ideas of I'm going to live forever, so whatever. I'm just going to use this as a way to motivate this person, right? And even on my side, like there's probably at this point some certain doubts, right? Whether this is going to happen or not. But I'm hoping it will or whatever. I kind of like that second one because that adds something new to our narrative here.
It gives you more reason to put your faith in me.
Yes.
Great.
A frustrated faith since you've yet to deliver anything. All right, cool. I like it.
All right. I think that's fantastic. Those are all very good. So it's just to recap on it, it's this idea that we'll reconnect you to your true family, but isn't really doing that. Is that what we're saying? Excellent. Okay. What I think I'd like to do is, let me finish writing that down. There it is. What I think I'd like to do is Space Wurn versus Moonicorn always opens in the same way. We're going to have Space Wurn in her place of power, feeling immense, the world, the universe, the galaxy well within her subtle and beautiful hands, but iron-like grip. And something is going to come to her attention that says things are not going as well as I could hope. And then once we have that scene, we go to Moonicorn in the midst of things not going how Space Wurn would hope. So I'm going to do our first scene, and then I think we'll take our break after it, and then we'll start Moonicorn scene. To give a little frame up, I did notice that I didn't do this when we were going through bonds, and it's super quick. But Space Wurn, like I said, has treasures and has those that are just currency. Our princess is just currency. The queen of the alien, or the alien queen, our purple she, is just currency. The lover Cypress, though, is treasured, as is Moonicorn. Just to have that out there and know. All right. To frame up how this, the way this first scene goes, I'm going to ask you, Resplendent Mother, to tell us about your wonderful place of power, what it looks like, how people around you are, and you can decide if anybody else is there with you. And it can even include, it can include Moonicorn, if you choose. Everybody will get a chance to say, I really don't see me there at the moment, but you have the ability to invite them. No one can come to your place of power unless you invite them. But we're going to start with that scene, and then I'll introduce our trouble to you as we go. So, Ellen, what does it look like in your place of power?
You see a large mountain with craggy peaks covered in snow, and atop the tallest peak there is a glorious shimmering castle, and the walls are made like the castle walls are of this beautiful iridescent marble. And we move through the castle. Huge rooms, tall roofs, opulent hangings on the walls, velvet curtains, stained glass windows. It's spectacular. Crystal chandeliers, everything is beautiful. And we find our way to the resplendent First Mother's place of power, and it is her seeing room. It is in the center of the castle, about mid-height, so it's not at the top of the castle, it's not in the dungeons, but this room is huge. The walls are almost gold like sun, and in the center of the room you have our resplendent First Mother reclining on a dais. Not a dais, what do you call them? A sunbed? What are those?
Little chase lounge.
Yes, one of them. And at the foot of the lounge, there is a small padded stool, which she, who is second to only one, is perched upon. And skirting this huge round room are many doorways. Each of these doorways are framed with different materials. So one is like wrought iron around the door frame, another is wood and leaves, another is rocks, another is gold. And there are not doors hanging on the doorways. There are a number of candles behind each of the doorway, and most of these doorways have a simple white light coming off the candle. Just one of the candles are lit with a white light. Now, you mentioned that there is some sign of all is not well.
Go ahead.
There are two of these numerous doorways where the white light candle is not lit. And one of those doorways, one of the other candles is aflame with red.
Excellent. Do these doorways, do they connect to all of the different worlds? Have you made like little stargates that you're capable of just walking through to go wherever you want across the galaxy?
Yes. So these are my tendrils across the universe. And the candles are signals to the health of that particular stargate.
Excellent. Oh, that's fantastic. And it may explain those, the prophetic visions you're able to give people just as you at your door and projecting yourself to them. That's lovely. What do we see inside of your place of power that makes us realize you are this divine being? Is it how your servants treat you, or is there some music? What shows us that you are this epitome, this Primarch of enlightenment?
Upon the floor, there is almost a sea of fresh flowers. And there are narrow paths between the flowers going to each of the doors. But these flowers are very, very fresh. And when we're sitting there, one of the doorways, the candle, the white light candle flickers off, and the green light candle flickers on. And coming through that doorway is a known trusted servant from another world with arms full of beautiful, fresh flowers to lay at our resplendent First Mother's feet.
Ah, the devotions of every world coming to you. I love it. All right. We have Kedwa there beside you on her seat. And is there anyone else you see in this scene potentially? Of course, just to say with our alien queen, with the purple she, it could be a brood person if you wanted to see if a brood member was there, or do you see
No,
side quest there? Just the two of you.
Yeah, this is a very personal room.
Excellent. All right then. So as this servant lays out these flowers, and we're seeing this oddness from the candles. One of the ones that has gone red. We see a disturbance in the doorway as comes out one of your servants from that planet, that place it connects to. You could see that he's bloodied, and as he staggers out, "Great, resplendent mother, the aliens, the Tewa, they have turned against the religion. They say they will find enlightenment on their own. They attacked the priesthood. They are
blaspheme.
They are elevating their own prophet."
This will not do. This will not do at all.
I do like as soon as you shout blaspheme, I do this symbol, which I've learned to ward.
Maybe the narwhal's horn.
I was thinking the same thing.
And I think even right before this servant came in with this dire message, like I think it was a calm space for a moment, right? And we even see a little bit of shimmering, like just the start of it, right before somebody approaches, and I probably turn to you very nonchalantly and with a little bit of attitude, and I'm like, "Oh, are you going to impress us with one of your visions? Because I think you're maybe whatever comes through will be something that you're going to twist the other way." But as soon as the person comes in, like I fall off my chair. Like I'm not expecting like this level of direness, bloodied and whatever. So that's like knocked right out of me, right? That attitude.
You petulant child. You absolute wreck of a child. We don't have time to bicker about your attitude at the moment. We have pressing matters to attend to.
Mother, maybe I can help. Maybe I can go and assist and go to these people and speak on your behalf. I mean, only if you trust me, I suppose. I mean, maybe I'll just make a mess of it. I don't know.
Oh, sweet child, you will not go. I could not bear to lose one so dear to me. But please,
may I just, as you're saying that, do we think, Kedwa, you're trying to convince her?
I am, but I'm not trying to tell her what to do either.
All right. This is, of course, only against NPCs, so I'm not activating the move. But it going into this to address the system just slightly here. You could see Resplendent Mother that that kind of call to I want to help, or surely you can trust me,
And
sort of thing.
there's I hang my head down, and you see one tear come down my face.
I do have a very important task for you. I must stay here and watch the worlds, but you shall go and meet with the well-respected Cypress Spring Grove and beg for their help and send them as a missionary, emissary to resolve this issue.
Ooh.
And I will accompany them there.
No, my child.
Oh,
You will return to me.
We'll see how that goes. And so, Kedgwa, I suppose with being given this task, you stand. How do you, as you leave the presence of the Resplendent Mother, do you show her respect, and what does that look like? Or do you not, and how does that look like?
I think I mean I do to some extent. So there's trusted servants there. So these are not servants that would that we know would whisper and provide rumors for others, right? So I do like a formal kind of bow, almost like the ones that a lot of the believers will do when leaving the presence of the mother, and so that part looks right, but I think I lock eyes with her in a way that's more direct, and something that you shouldn't do, under those circumstances. At the same time, I'm the second, so it's not like someone who looked on would not think it rude, but I think the mother would think it rude, right?
Mm. And so, as Kedgwa moves out, do you say anything? Do you just dismiss this Resplendent Mother, or do you have some parting words, Ellen?
Sorry, I thought you were talking to Kedua.
No.
Child, never forget how important you are to me and how important you are to the universe. When I'm gone, you will be left to lead the blind. Please don't put yourself at risk. I know your heart is strong, but now is not the time to fight for folly.
And I think all the words that come out of my mouth are correct, like, of course, mother, but there's a little bit of you can hear of course, mother, like a little bit of attitude, just a tiny bit.
Yeah.
Oh, I love our hot teen serpent princess. I think that is just fantastic. All right. And so, as you leave the presence of the Resplendent Mother, and you, Mother, are sitting there, from one of these doors, another supplicant comes bearing the beautiful flowers and lays them out. And we end our scene. It does a Star Wars star wipe sort of thing. And we're going to take our first break. Let's do about 5 minutes, and then we'll come on back and see what trouble Moonicorn's up to.
Hey, Toma.
Yeah.
I've been thinking of Snuggle and Cirrus like hanging out. Just both retired, just living the dream.
Oh man, I love that. Like I imagined that scene, and it was in the ship, and then you kind of like zoomed out, and the ship is just sitting there. Like I just love to like because I didn't expect that part of it, and it just every time I think about it, I get all teary eyed.
So nice.
Oh yeah.
So great to be able to play with you again.
Oh yes. Ditto.
Did I see that you weren't able to make it into the other game for this one?
Yeah, I'm on the waiting list for the next few, and I'd be open to getting in, but I'm also open to sleeping a little bit.
Yeah.
This one was really
Sleeping's
hard. I got to sleep about an hour ago before we started. Yeah, I tried to go to sleep early. It didn't work.
Oh shit.
But I have signed up for a little bit of Night Witches.
Oh, I'm so jealous.
I'm so excited.
It'll be good, hopefully.
I didn't realize, Tomer, that you weren't in the next ones. I got Escher, don't I?
Yeah, Asher's on there.
Alrighty.
I can't do the next one because I'm traveling, but I can probably do the fourth one. So sorry, Tomer, you might not get any sleep.
Cool. All right then. Well, let's see what's up with Moonicorn. And again, we'll be kind of framing a scene. And Moonicorn, you have a little bit less control over who's going to be with you than Space Wurn. Space Wurn gets the chance to only those who Space Wurn invites can be there. Others can choose to kind of inject themselves into your scene, but you of course can also invite someone to be a part of it as well. I'd like to know, what is Moonicorn up to right now? What are you doing, Owain? What fun and exciting adventures are you on at the moment?
I'm trying to find ways to tie it into the dilemma presented before, and I'm not totally sure how I'm involved in that.
I'll get you there. Don't you worry.
Okay.
So, but what sort of activities are you flying from planet to planet? Have you been enjoying the triple sunsets of Vinua, or what have you been up to?
Oh, probably, definitely. I think that as much as it annoys me to have to use the heavily controlled interstellar travel, ended up caving and catching a flight to fetch you up with. Man, I want to be like, with everybody, because I love all of my friends. But yeah, I guess anybody who wants to be in this scene, I will leave it open to who actually open. It was probably an open invitation, like, I'm going to go catch a sunset. It's going to be awesome. We're going to do stuff. And
right.
Yeah.
Lauren?
Oh man, I'm so
except
jealous.
Space Wurn, because Space Wurn's no fun.
And Space Wurn is the only one who wouldn't be in this scene. So, Lauren, what you think? You think you're on the move with Owain?
I would never force my person upon Owen. However, if Owen were to invite me on such a journey, I would be most honored.
Oh, I love it. And do we think, Purple She, that one of your brood is there? Sounds like we're on a ship traveling towards getting to the sunsets. Is that right, Moonicorn? Are we still in flight, or have we gotten there?
Oh, sure, that works. That we're still in flight.
Ooh, okay.
I wouldn't mind as a little flavor thing. I don't necessarily need to. Well, I'll see where the scene goes, but I wouldn't mind a couple of my brood to be like maybe on the outside of the ship, or just just watching probably watching what Moonicorn's up to.
Lovely.
Stalking
I
Moonicorn.
love that. The Beardess in Purple She didn't respond to me. I mean, maybe she'll show, but I don't know. She does what she wants. She's awesome and powerful, and totally unaware that there's these ant creatures stuck to the ship.
All right. And I'm going to probably say, unless you really expect to be there, Princess, that probably this is not the same flight you're on. Sound good? Okay. All right then. And so as you're traveling along, you are, there with Cypress, enjoying the flight. You've already made it into the hyper lanes. You pass through the Stargate and are, around you are the lights of it going through. And your crew is an alien one. You're on an alien ship. But it's a nice one. And they all are, everyone's a little bit of a fan of you, Owain. Just, whenever they see you, it's kind of that, oh, so nice to have you traveling with us. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, and Owen looks just terribly uncomfortable with this. And he's like, "Oh, yeah, it's nice to meet you too." And very much trying to make it a more casual interaction than it is, or to excuse himself, but probably with mixed success. And people try to take selfies with me.
Cypress, I feel like Owen's probably quite tall. Am I correct?
Yeah, I think probably quite tall for ordinary people. I don't know how tall counts in trees. So
yeah, I feel like Cypress is probably like a bit, like just a bit taller, and a bit like, I feel like where their head height comes to is dwarfed by like the tree branches that are sort of growing up over them. So
I definitely got the image that Cypress was probably taller than Owain, however tall Owain may be.
Imagine with the hornets high.
Oh yeah. Yeah, like sort of the rustling and a bit of clacking as like Cypress tries to navigate around this kind of crowded space, and like leans down enough to your level and says, "My son, you are looking uncomfortable. May I help alleviate that for you?"
Oh, it's just odd having people so, I suppose, excited to see me. I'm really nothing terribly special. I just wanted to catch a flight to go see a beautiful sunset. With you. I didn't expect that we'd be fending off Adorian fans along the way.
Yeah, of course they're excited to see you. For a while, I think like Cypress maybe like cups your chin a little bit. It says, "For while the three sunsets are quite marvelous, as I understand, they pale in comparison to yourself."
Oh.
Oh, it's clearly just caught totally off guard, and blushes a bit. Pulls away after a second, saying, "Oh well, that's yeah. As always, you flatter me too much."
Oh, I apologize. I have offended you.
No, not at all. No, not you could never offend me. You're my truest friend.
And there's a blush, I imagine, with glitter.
Yes, everything about it includes glitter.
And as this is going on, as you're talking, you can hear the sound of the ship reaching the Stargate, and it comes out. You could see the triple suns of this thing going in there, completely physics-defying little dance out there, and it's beautiful. One is this white, one is very red, and the other gives off a blue. And you soar down towards the planet of Uvia. We'll call it, what the hell. And land. It is a planet primarily for pleasure. The food is said to be exquisite, and of course the views are marvelous. and it is a place where people go to enjoy themselves. The natives of the planet are known for their hospitality and their beauty. They're tall and lithe, with golden skin and fascinating eyes. And as you arrive at the port, the accommodations are magnificent. And somehow they've learned that the last Moonicorn is on this ship, so that when the gangplank drops, there are dozens of adoring fans that, Owain, 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 and they're throwing flowers.
Can I add a bit of flavor? I think two of the a couple, like maybe even like 4 or 5 of my brood have kind of been sucked up into as they've climbed down off the outside of the ship. They're like caught kind of out of sight, like in the crush of all of the
Absolutely. Absolutely. Just so I know, Lou, does the purple does she give names to each of her brood?
Yeah, they've all got names, totally.
Okay. Excellent. So I may ask their names as we go along, and you can certainly give them out as when we introduce one doing something, you can give him his name.
Yeah, I think she's got different ones for different purposes.
Oh, that's
and
cool.
I think that perhaps their role here is that they're following her. They're following sorry, I'm going to misgender Moonicorn constantly just because they're My Little Ponies to me. I think they're following
Owain.
Yeah.
All right. And so as this crowd is out there, they're shouting your name, Owain, what do you do? Owain?
Owain, sort of, there's a slight recoil as he steps out and realizes there's a adoring crowd shouting, like, oh no, how do I sneak past this sort of moment? And then kind of gathers himself and does a broad beaming smile, like, hello, my adoring public. I love you all, probably. How do I get through here?
The crowd, of course, they're cheering away, but the one of the aliens that had brought the ship says, "Sir, would you care for us to escort you in through the crowd?"
It seems sort of inappropriate almost to have barriers between me and other people, but that might be better given that we have to make the sunset. I can't be here all day.
Well, yes. And several of them fall in kind of in front of you. Please, make way, make way. And they're moving people to the side, but people are reaching over. And it's not full on like the Beatles where they're grabbing crap off of you and trying to rip your clothes. But they are wanting to like touch you. You feel hands just press up almost reverently and adoringly as you pass. And the ones that do, and their friends look at them with envy. What are you thinking of all this, Cypress?
I think you probably get like because Cypress was going to offer Owen to ride in their branches, but these officials got in the way first. So I think like Cypress is probably taking up the rear and watching these people touching Owen, and I think Cypress labels this protection or like wariness about what these people are doing, but I think there's like a smidge of jealousy.
I gotcha. And I think I should have triggered this earlier, but we can kind of do it as a little bit of a flashback. You've been on this trip with Moonicorn all this time. I think we're triggering your alone with someone move during the course of this.
Oh,
so are you attracted to them or not?
Oh, most definitely.
Do you tell Moonicorn why you can't be together?
Hmm. Ooh. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out why. So it was probably back with like the almost too intimate, like you were more than 3 sons kind of thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um. Ooh, I think, yeah, I kind of dig this. I think Cypress says that it's a shame we can't be together for the shade of my branches is far too insignificant to stand with your pristine, great warmth and light, and I will never be good enough.
Oh.
I think that when Cypress says this, Moonicorn, Owain immediately tries to go like, no, don't, of course, but is sort of drowned out by people trying to catch his attention, and he can't blow them off either because he's trying so hard to be so polite to everyone that it just fails to be nice to anyone, really.
Then I think we have a fascination that has been built. Moonicorn is fascinated by you there, so you could put down, keep note that you have a fascination from Moonicorn now, and you of course can use it for its various things. And so as you're moving through this crowd, and again they press up, touching Moonicorn until you move into this really beautiful reception area, and they, people come up to, oh, Owen, it is so good you have come to our fair planet. You've come to see the sunsets? Everyone comes to see the sunsets.
Oh, yes, I've heard they're the most beautiful in this solar system from this particular planet in this particular time, right now.
We have transport to a most wondrous viewing spot, if you would care to take of it.
Oh, of course, I'll look to Cypress, make sure that, they didn't have other plans that I would be crushing by accepting this offer, but...
Cypress would never get in the way of Owen's wants and wishes. So I think like you get this very like tree rustling like in the leaves as they nod, like all the branches sway.
And Owen is happy to have Cypress along with him in any respect, but still sort of hoping that eventually it'll be in a way that Cypress will feel like they can talk back to Owain a little instead of being so deferential all the time. He doesn't want their adoration. He wants their love.
Oh.
Aww.
And so you are led to this, it's a chariot, a large chariot, and it is being drawn by these bright blue, they're not quite oxen, but they have the curls across of horn, and they're big and they're beautiful. They're just gorgeous animals, but they're bright blue. And as you are brought on, there's a guy up front who begins moving through. There aren't as many adoring fans as you leave. They, knew you were coming in, but folks here on the street aren't quite aware. And you move through this city, and it is gorgeous. These tall spires that glitter in the suns, and they catch the different rays that are coming through, and so they sparkle with all these different colors. There's a smell of wonderful food. There's tons of flowers. Despite 3 suns, it's a comfortable temperature. And you move through the city. And it's, like I say, it's a touristy place. So you see all these different races around, buying things, enjoying the beauty of the place as you are heading out towards the just beautiful, sparkling lake that this thing is sitting on. This city is against. And you can see that the suns are reaching that point where two of them will soon descend, just as the third begins to rise, which is considered one of the most beautiful of the sunsets. Purple She, your brood is following along behind, keeping an eye on this procession, and you, back on your asteroid, see perfectly through their eyes as though you were there. As you're heading along, keeping an eye on them, you see a group of 4 of these aliens of this planet, the Vajuans, I guess would be it, would be the name of their race, Vajuan. And they are also keeping pace with the chariot as it moves.
Yeah, so I think the perspective that the iridescent purple she is seeing, there's a few little like brood ants on the ground, but I think she's sent maybe her one or two of the winged like the male drone. So I think she's seeing the chariot moving along, and then she's seeing perhaps these others come down from the side. So I think she'll probably command her brood to like intercept them.
Oh, intercept them. All righty. Why don't we roll then? Command your brood. You'll be rolling with your brood.
Cool. These are just Dungeon World S 2d6 rolls, aren't they?
Correct, yeah.
That's a 9. I got a 11. Oh, no, wait. I got a 1 for that. I got a 10.
Excellent. You say there's 2 of them?
Yeah, I think maybe the other little ones might have got caught up in the crowd, so there's just these 2 winged ones now.
All right. So what is the command? You're saying intercept them? Are you saying, like, attack them? Are you saying that you're trying to, I don't know, capture them, get information? What are you commanding them to do with them?
I don't know how much. Yeah, it's probably just going to mess them up.
All right.
Not kill them, but just like slash them up a little bit.
Okie doke. Well then, they fly in and have complete surprise on these 4 Vajuans, and so your first one just comes in and whack hits that other one, just knocks him flat as the other 3 turn, and you know it's very quick and very fast as your 2 just start knocking them to the side. All 3 of them or 4 of them are laid out. 3 unconscious and 1. What are you doing? Why are you attacking us?
I guess I can. Can I speak through these?
Yeah,
I can
certainly
direct their actions.
Yeah. Yeah, it would be their voice, but you speaking. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's one. These 2 are called Ziri. One's called Ziri, and one's called Aldec. And I think Ziri is like, why are you following the Moonicorn? We are the ones that are following the Moonicorn.
You follow the Moonicorn as well. The new prophet. You are also opposed to the faith of the mother.
There's this weird delay while they kind of put their heads up to the sky and kind of receive their like incoming information from their mother. Interesting. I think perhaps we might be, but you four get away from here. There's not room for you now. We're very busy. Come back later. It's like lifts their hand up to like slash them again.
Whack him across the jaw, and as he's passing out, we should be working together. But out he goes. As ahead, the chariot reaches this beautiful pavilion looking across the lake. The suns drop down, the glitter coming from the lake. So many colors. It is so serene, so beautiful. What do you say, Cypress, as you look at this? Standing beside Owain. And the two of you, the others have moved back. There's no one there but the two of you lounging on these, these pillows on this platform, watching. What do you say? Or
oh my god. Oh yeah, no, totally. I think like there's this, if it's fine with Owain, this warm, quite large hand on Owain's shoulder, and Owain can feel like that sort of sunshine, saccharine, sticky, like afternoon dappled light warmth, like sort of coming from his palm. And there's that really lingering long pause as they watch like the two suns set. And I think Cypress leans down a little bit and says sort of just above a murmur, I often lack conviction and faith in my own observations, so I am nothing important in this universe, but I will say that I am correct in that while this landscape is perhaps the most beautiful in all of the galaxies out there, it does not compare to the light in your eyes and the warmth behind them that I'm lucky that I have in my life.
Wayne?
Oh, well, I'm certainly lucky to have found you as well. You are one of my best and truest friends, and I don't know. First, it seems around you sort of like being back home.
I understand the feeling. You ground me in a way that I have not felt since I first left my tree, my arm.
Beautiful. Does that sound like scene?
I think so, and I get an integrity from that, given that it didn't go too far past G rating.
Indeed. Excellent.
There is totally that moment where like they could have kissed, but they didn't. You're sorry, Alan.
And I think as we end our scene, we see the two of you there in the sunset with the rise, and it's such a beautiful moment. While we see in the distance behind you, coming up out of a street, the two flying brood looking down to see this. All right, those are our two opening scenes. So we've gotten an idea. Space Worm, trouble is afoot. Moonicorn off with the lover, having a just beautiful, lovely time. But our alien queen has discovered something is afoot and managed to beat the hell out of a couple of folks. Now, I'm gonna start setting some scenes. I think I'm gonna go and find out from you, Kedra, what you're doing, where we're going. But Space Worm, worth noting, you can interject yourself in at any point now. You can do any sort of things you'd like to do. You have your help and hinders, but you also have the absolute ability to transport yourself anywhere you want to.
So we see our resplendent first mother sitting more upright on her lounge as a humbled servant hovels at her feet, hands her a scroll, and then backs out of the room. She unwinds the scroll and she's reading a detailed account of everything that just transpired in that last scene. And then she rolls it up and nods.
Lovely. All right. Kedwa.
I think we see this lovely scene play out, right?
Mhm.
And then we're in the same world. There's the sunset's kind of like doing its thing, and you can hear people revel, and there's a little bit of a street scene. We saw some of those markets that they walked past, like street vendors with food and whatever. And so we're kind of seeing a little bit of that scene, like the camera's panning, and then it kind of stops, and we see Kedwa just sitting there like gnawing on a kebab, and it's got some weird like purple yellow beets or something on it. And in the background, we see like 6 different aliens of all different types eating this same thing. And they're all just like loving, whatever this is. And, she finishes like the last one, and like she's got this long kebab stick, and she kind of like, starts cleaning out her teeth as she's kind of like just walking down the street. It looks like she's kind of at a party or something, right? Like, and then she sees, I think we see Moonicorn, and maybe this is that scene, right? Just at the end of the scene, right? Where Moonicorn and Owain Moonicorn and Cypress are finishing their thing, and almost like we're expecting the kiss at that point, right? Or something. And then that's when I think Kedwa, I wonder if she would be that rude.
What do you think?
Yeah, I think so. I think she kind of like flicks the little kebab stick, and it hits kind of like Moonicorn on the back of the head, because they're old friends. So like there's a little bit of that. And Kedwa walks up, and she walks up to them, and she's like, "Oh, well, this is quite fortunate. Exactly who I was looking for."
Yeah, and as the kebab stick hits her in the back of the head, or it kind of starts out of this intimate moment, spots Kedwa and just jumps up and pulls her into a big bear hug, going, "Kedwa, I hoped you'd make it."
And Kedwa, like, you saw she looked comfortable up to that point, and then now she's kind of like very stiff in that hug, and she's like, okay, yes, okay.
Oh,
and you can tell like when she's finally put back down, she's not really like that touchy-feely, right? Even though she looks comfortable with these people, that's not really her vibe, right? But she just kind of shrugs it off.
Yeah,
and
it takes a step back, like, "Oh, sorry,
and I think that happens every time, right? Like every time Moonicorn's always like, "Oh, bear hug," and it's like, oh, sorry, as if like you've forgotten the last 5,000 times that's happened, right?
Yeah, like he remembers just 30 seconds too late that, oh, Kedwa doesn't do this. That's an other people thing.
But Kedwa turns to you, Cypress, and is like, "We have a duty to perform. Space Worm has ordered us on a very special journey."
A journey?
Yes, a duty, in fact. We need to, well, I guess, save the universe. Again.
I apologize. Are you sure you're not mistaken? I don't completely comprehend how my presence would be necessary in such a situation.
Have you not
And then
saved the universe before?
So you're not here for
Well-
the sunset? Just disappointment.
Cypress says, well, and then sort of gets like the tree head sway with the rustling like over toward Owain and says, I cannot claim to have saved any universes, for I'm merely the roots, the ground that supports Owain.
That will change today.
What are you
And-
suggesting?
I think we see Kedua kind of go between the two of them and kind of take them both in like by the arms. Although for, Cypress, I guess it's like a branch or something, right? And she tries to lead them toward, one of the gates or whatever. I don't think she even really cares whether or not Owain was supposed to come along on this journey. And also, it looks like she's conveniently forgotten that she's not supposed to go along on this journey.
It's always easier to ask forgiveness and permission.
Yes. And I do have a thing about that, which is orders. I have like a move, I guess, which has to do with defying Space Worm's orders, amongst other things. Where were we supposed to go?
Titua.
Titua. So I think that's the last thing you hear me say is to Titua.
Do
Bless
the
you.
two of you follow?
Well, I would have a hard time saying no to such a powerful, inspiring individual.
Well, and I'm a bit surprised by Kedra showing up and immediately joining us to another place, but I'm sure it's going to be a great whatever it is because, I trust her. So I'm going along.
I think I even
Owen.
say something like, "Oh yeah, I'm sure the sunset there is just grand."
Yes.
And Owen, there will always be other sunsets with you around.
All right. Do we feel like, Princess, that are you following Space Worm's orders, or do you feel like that you going is kind of defying them? Which do you think?
Oh, I think I'm defying them. I think I very specifically asked Space Worm if I should accompany, and she said nay.
Okay.
And I'm like, fuck that, I'm going.
All right. So you're
I've
gonna
just I've got a like tiny other like little thing because I think the purple she is still observing this, and I think maybe we as they're walking off, I think we get a flash to her, and she's like I think she's like janking out a little bit, like so we see her perspective of her like seeing I think Kedua's face and then like seeing Owain's face, and then she notices Cypress, and she's like, and she's getting that little flashback to like being like having someone be super rude to her probably for the first time like in her life, or maybe even the only time. And but yeah, so I think you see her, she's like kind of visibly distressed, and probably the rest of the brood that's there are like fanning her and like trying to calm her down and freaking out and stuff. But I think as it snaps out of that, we see these two drones looking down at Kedua have that, what is it that Kedua's like skin is like, Toma?
Like glittery.
Yeah, I think they kind of look different, these drones, to the rest of the brood, and they've got this kind of like smattering of the, and we probably get a really obvious like patronizing the audience, like look at like move back and forth between just to make sure everyone gets it.
All right. And so as this trio with the drones above watching head back towards, I'm guessing, to catch a ship to Tetua. I think you probably activated your velvet glove there, Tomer. So I think you get +1 power. You didn't have to command anybody to do something there. All right. And so you arrive back at the port. You haven't been gone long. In fact, the people that were there to go, oh, Moonicorn's here, are kind of drifted off, and they're like drinking coffee, and they're like, oh, holy crap! And they're putting their coffee down. Oh, Moonicorn's here again! And but they can't get organized quick enough, as I'm guessing the princess just strolls through imperiously straight to. You probably came in your own ship, didn't you?
I think so. Yeah, I would say so.
All right. And so as you head straight over, and you've got your liveried guards and the people that fly it. It's it's a royal yacht. As you're heading up there,
you are interfered.
Oof. Oh my.
The royal guards awaiting your return to the ship allow you back on the ship, but prevent the boarding of Moonicorn and Cypress. One of the guards addresses Cypress. Excuse me, respected Springgrove, your vehicle is over here.
How does the vehicle look different? Is it smaller?
It looks like a standard space travel vehicle. It has none of the regalia that your ship has. It doesn't have the insignia. It is just standard, our resplendent First Mother flights.
I think that's exactly what I say. I like stop, and I get this stormy look on my face, and I stand up to the, to that guard, and I say, it doesn't even have the regalia, and I'm like saying all those same words. I'm like, if they are supposed to travel and to represent us, obviously they need to take the yacht. That is why I'm here.
We have our orders.
And
right.
Am I not somebody who gives orders?
You are the second, not the first.
Ooh. All right, so you're going to try and command there, princess?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. So you are going at using the command move from Space Wurn, which you can look at over there, borrowing it from your mother. You have a +1 from your defying Space Wurm's orders, but why don't we have you first, Ellen? Why don't you roll your hindrance, your interfere there?
Yeah.
In terms of modifiers,
you roll with the number of you'll roll with the number of bonds you have with the princess, which I think gives you a +1. I think you have 1 bond.
Yep. Boxcars.
Ooh, very nice. And since this is just currency, you're able to do your hinder there. So, Tomer, you're going to be taking a -2 +1, so a -1 to your command here.
All right. I will be impetuous in command. So I get +2 for power, and then a -2 for the, so it's a straight roll.
And you've got your +1 for the...
And the +1 from before. Yeah, +1 forward. Oh, boy. That's a 5.
Oh, dear.
Except I can use one of my powers to...
You can.
Just, hey, Kedra, look at me. I believe in you. You're as important as she is. And that makes it 1 degree more success.
Excellent. All right, so that takes you up to the 7 to 9. These guards, we cannot defy the First Mother. They cannot come on this ship.
Of course, you are correct. And I grab them both by the arm and turn and walk them to the other ship.
Perfect. And as the three of you get on, you can see these guards. They're looking at each other like, oh no, we're going to be in so much trouble. As the three of you get on to this much less ornate, but still nice ship. And as it seals up, Purple She, do your drones come down and light on it? Are you going with them?
Yeah, I think they probably do that thing where they like they come in like as it's taking off underneath, and like it has some landing gear that they like grab onto the landing gear as the landing gear comes up inside of the thing, so they're up in like the little cavity of the landing gear.
Excellent. Oh, excellent. And Moonicorn, as the doors close behind you, you see out on the landing pad that a few of these, the fans have made it out there to, yay. But you also see there's a group of 4, and they look kind of beat up, honestly. You can see they've got some, where they've been, slashed and knocked out. Their bruises on their otherwise very golden skin. But as you take off, they drop to their knees, and they have reached into their kind of robes. And normally, everyone who pulls out a holy symbol, it's of that narwhal. And while you still could see the horn, there's no doubt that it is your face that is on this symbol as they hold it up.
And Iron's face just falls and goes, oh no.
All right. The ship takes off up to above the planet and towards the Stargate. Ellen, why don't you tell us what it looks like when our Stargates activate?
For the ship?
Yeah, for the ship, and does the gate do anything?
So the ship-size gates, they're essentially a much larger version of what we saw in our Resplendent First Mother's Rune of Power in the Seeing Room. So the what kind of people are the Titual people?
They have a the Wurn from Star Trek. They're kind of reptilian. They're bulky, green scaled, and they have a. I'm not going to say that they're like primitive, but they do have a more violent custom, a warrior caste sort of custom to them, and so they still view themselves as very much warriors. Their planet has ships, good military ships, that sort of thing.
So the gate is made out of rocks and boulders with primitive-looking ferns and conifers growing through and around it. And there are large lanterns set up behind the gate in a similar style to what we saw with the candles. And normally it just looks like a regular arch with lanterns behind it.
Mm-hmm.
And when it is activated, the white lantern goes out, the green lantern's lit up, and you see the shimmering effect go across the door space. And like the Stargate movies, the vessel or the person enters through and they're there. And then the shimmering fades off.
Excellent. So as the ship passes through, and is gone, and down below on this beautiful, pristine planet, we can see those 4 men, beings there on the spaceport. It has begun. It has begun. As they take out their spice vials and inhale deeply, their eyes sort of glaze over. He comes. Now, I wouldn't mind if we have something. I'm going to ask first off, Lou, you've gotten this information. You kind of know where they're going. You have drones on their ship. Is there anything you'd like to do with this knowledge, or any sort of machinations you have in store?
Yeah, I think that the purple she is trying to get her head around it a little bit, what's going on, and so I think I don't know, I kind of like that she was even able to see down as the landing gear came up, those guys in the robes holding up the Moonicorn like medallion. So I think who would she? I think maybe we see her like talking to like some of her brood, like trying to kind of like bounce some ideas off of them. Like she's talking out loud about what's going on. She's like, okay, so there's something beginning. The Moonicorn seems to be some kind of new prophet, and I wonder how I can best use this. It seems I'll have to make a choice at some moment, but I think for now I'm just going to watch. And I think though we see her, she like, you hear her make all these kind of like clicking like ants, like she starts clacking her mandibles and stuff. And some other, like a few what do these ones look like? I think the other ones were kind of more like little like scouts and stuff, but I think she calls this like another 4 of her brood in, and these ones are like, you know, they pretty much got mantis they've got mantis arms. And she's like, I really want to say, fly, my pretties, fly. I think it's actually subtitled, like she clicks and like say like another model of drone, but we see it's Wizard of Oz.
All right.
Like,
can I ask, I know you're on this asteroid. Are you able to like make the asteroid move? Could you take it to a Stargate and go through it with your asteroid? Or do you have like ships to send them off on? Or are they, space capable themselves, where they can just fly to a Stargate and shoot through it themselves?
I think they probably are more like kind of what the other ones are doing now, where they like wait for other ships. Like she's parked this asteroid parked somewhere, maybe quite conspicuous, like in a shipping lane or something. Yeah, and they just jump onto parasitic travel. It's like how like fire ants actually do that. That's how they've gotten everywhere. They get in like some broken off bit of wood and they can make it across oceans and stuff.
Horrible things. All right. And so we see them fly out, and as this ship is passing by, latch to it, and it heads towards a gate, and they are gone. Space Worm, oh resplendent first mother, your defiant daughter, taking Moonicorn and Cypress off to this troubled place. What do you wish to do?
I am not pleased. My child will face her consequences. But not now. Let her have her fun and play these games like grown-ups do. I'm also saying this to like some groveling servant just off to the side.
Of course, First Mother. Of course, First Mother.
You will ensure that no harm is come to her, and if the trouble is too great, you will use any force necessary to bring her home.
Of course, most resplendent one. She looks over, and I imagine that there's like a warrior order of nuns sort of thing. I think that's a cool thought. You like that idea?
Yeah, I do. And maybe like they're wearing the similar like habit, and all the white is like opalescent.
Perfect. As they yes, ma'am.
I want a close eye on the last Moonicorn. I know that I've been receiving updates on their movements and their eventing, but I don't want them getting too heavily involved in this fracas. I also want to make sure that they are safe.
Yes, most resplendent one. We shall do as you order. And
Take this scroll to Cyprus. It has their orders. Now be gone.
they rush out, and as the troop of battle nuns move past, they all turn in unison and lift the horn sign to you and tromp towards that door and head through. Meanwhile, on the ship, we have a lovely triangle going on there, don't we now? Moonicorn, you these accommodations are certainly nice, though nothing exceptional. You have the lovely Cyprus, or scenic Cyprus, there with you, and of course the beauteous Princess Kedua. What are you doing?
I think I'm gonna tell Kedra first that I don't want to. I don't mean this to be a brag or anything, but I think when we were flying away, some of the people on the dock were holding up icons of me. Do you know anything about that?
Yes, I heard that some had started a bit of a, I don't know, cult, and I mean it's kind of adorable. Other than the fact that maybe it's blasphemous and they would possibly get harmed or killed. I mean, I guess we wouldn't really want that to happen. I mean, I myself would like to be part of such a cult. I am a big fan of yours, but we know that's not really proper, and we do kind of know what our resplendent First Mother would say, don't we?
It partway through there, it's just painfully obvious in Owen's face that he never considered that this might go badly for the people joining the cult too. But well, I'm no one particularly special, and I'm by no means a saint, but also I don't want people being punished for being mistaken.
Well, I mean, first off, you were wrong. You are someone very, very special. But I too don't want people hurt. I mean, what do you think we should do?
I don't suppose it's really possible to disabuse them of the notion of their religion, but
You know,
I
it's
think
almost like if there was someone that they would listen to, someone that, you know, could possibly convince them to put down those signs.
I love how obvious this manipulate attempt is. But yes, I'm totally going, well, I suppose if there's anyone that would listen to it, that it would be me.
Hmm.
I know you would never steer me wrong.
I will bring up for you just because, you know, just to have these out here on the table. Like our moves are really broad based. So at any point, if y'all feel like doing an assess, it's really just a, you know, a potential to ask a question type of thing. So those are always, you know, just to know we're on the table, not to say you should do that right now. I'm not triggering. I'm just saying if you ever need to use it. All right. So after this conversation, do we feel like that we kind of hang that scene on that statement, or is there something more one of you'd like to say?
I kind of like the idea that I mean, I'm good personally, but I like the idea that right then is when the ship kind of like you hear like the grrr, and you know we kind of like land, right?
Right. We hear that sound of coming through the gate. Cypress, as we're traveling along, what are you doing?
Good question. Probably something not too exciting, like meditating and converting the sun, the last of the sun's rays from the sunset into nutrients.
Oh, excellent. Sorry,
it's not too exciting.
Oh no, that's perfectly wonderful. Do we think you know, we talked about that spice is kind of, you know, it's in that protein strain and a lot of aliens. Is there an element of the spice that flows through you? We talked about like your mother's ship has
totally.
that sort of.
I think I like the idea of it manifesting like mushroom growth or something like that, or some kind of like lichen.
Wonderful. All right, and so there's this little bit of a glow and that little smell of the spices. These are growing off of you. I think that's a pretty scene as we see you sitting there as the ship, and you look out the view screen, and you could see you're above the planet, and looking down, you could see that arrayed around it, around the Stargate, are dozens of warships, the entire fleet of the Tituans. The ship slows as it comes out of the gate. There's a rush coming down the hallway towards you. Princess, the Tituans. Oops, I muted myself. Sorry. The Tituans are demanding that we stop. They wish to come aboard. They say that no one is to come to the planet without their ships searched.
Oh, really? No one? And I think, you know, I'm kind of like moving away toward the camera, like that area where we have like the communication channel, and I'll stand there with, you know, my hand on one of his shoulders, like just like the back shoulder, and I think I'll hit like a switch, so like to try to turn on communication between us and the fleet, right, or whatever.
The screen comes, you know, clicks up, and we see there one of these, again, large, kind of reptilian, dangerous looking. He has, you could tell he's in charge because he has a fancy hat with feathers. And you could see he's wearing armor that looks pretty ornamental. I mean, he's on a ship. So, but he's wearing armor there. And as he, you know, he's got this look of anger But when he sees Moonicorn, his eyes sort of widen. He's still got a kind of grim expression, though. And this triggers a move because this is a first encounter with authority.
Yes, it is.
When you first encounter an authority figure institution, the GM must do one of these. And I think we're going to reveal a resource this authority is lacking. As he... Owain, the last Moonicorn. And he's speaking in his language, which you understand perfectly, but I'm not sure if anyone else here would. It was foretold that you would come.
Foretold by whom?
We have received your visions. We know that you are truly the prophet. Have you come and brought us more of the spice, so that our visions may improve?
I sort of looked at Kidra and say, okay, I think there was a miscommunication, and look back and say to the thing, I think that maybe some wires got crossed in there or somewhere, because I haven't sent any visions to anyone. And I don't have a lead on the spice.
Oh, that is a shame. For it was foretold that the prophet would deny that he was the prophet. But it was said the spice would come with the prophet. That the spice would be everlasting in the presence of the prophet. It should grow like the flowers upon the land, and it should flow from the heart of his love.
And so this entire time, I think, we've seen Owain, like even when Kedua put him in like the monitor thing, it was like he's right in the center, right? And like Kedua's kind of like in the back, right? But I think this is where she kind of like nudges him over a little bit and kind of like moves up into the frame, so they're kind of side by side. And
Owen's, I think, got some size on Kedua, but just moves as soon as she touches, as if she's much stronger than she is.
And I think she says, "Oh, the spice. Well, I could help you with that."
Second mother, he says in kind of broken common. You travel with the prophet. Have you seen the light as well?
And I kind of look at him with a little bit of like, come on, dude, like that kind of look, like, what do you think? With a little bit of attitude.
Oh, blessings. Already the first mother's power cracks. Moonicorn, you are welcome. You will be received at the planet. And you see little fighter ships come up to escort you down. As your ship descends, you could see, reaching this city, the once beautiful towers of the First Mother's temples are in flames.
I think right when we like stopped that communication, like I hit the switch and like the communication turned off, right? And there's definitely that moment where I turn, like even before we see like that dramatic stuff, I think I turn to Owain and I'm like, "Good job, dude." Like we got what we wanted, right? And but I think like, yeah, when we see that scene that you're describing, Tyler, I think we can see that it looked like Kedua was trying to be like on top of this situation or whatever, But when she sees like how serious the shit is down there, we can see that she's like, oh shit, this is a level above what I'm ready to deal with, right?
Cool. All right, and so we see the three of you on your ship heading down towards this city in turmoil.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
I would like to send communication to the ship. So after the communication with the captain ceases, the screen goes black and then flickers to life, and you see the resplendent First Mother standing in a sea of flowers. She addresses Kedua. My child, you play the actor so well.
I have learned from the best.
I have already insisted that this mission is not yours. You are displeasing your mother.
I feel like I'm intruding a little here. I'll just show myself out. And Owen kind of attempts to sneak out of the frame.
I grab his arm and bring him back into the frame. And I'm like, we have a situation here. It is as I suspected. This situation is beyond, beyond just sending a tree. Like I say it almost like really insultingly, right?
Wayne looks deeply offended by that tone. Just like, how could you?
But I'm not even noticing, right? Like I'm not looking to the sides or anything. I'm just looking straight at Mother on the screen. I'm like, no, we had to take control of this situation.
You are making a mockery of the situation. Cyprus was chosen for their bureaucratic skills. This is a political issue, not an issue of religion. And if you continue to insist Moonicorn's place in this debate, then we will have much more to discuss in private. But you, my child, are no politician. You need to return home now. Dear Owain, the last beautiful Moonicorn, I appreciate that this situation is not of your doing. If you choose, you may return with my child and converse with me in person. Cyprus, have you received those orders?
I have not.
And I think it's probably about the time that we're having this communication that coming through the Stargate is this very quick and small shuttle that has latched in to the back of your ship. And as the doors open, we see this full regiment of the battle nuns come walking in, handing you your scroll.
These servants will guide you and protect you on your mission to speak with their leaders here. You will ensure that you firmly advocate for our resplendent First Mother as the one true saint, and that your homeworld will also be providing military and economic support with this dilemma. I do not wish to see this continue past another day.
I would be pleased to help in this endeavor. Bless you, Mother.
sound like scene. So as the screen goes blank, on the outside of the ship, the two drones have seen this, and I think it's only proper that when they latch onto this ship, they're able to like hear inside of it. I think that the purple she certainly knows what's just going on inside here, and we're coming to our end for the night. So, Lou, what does this purple she do with this knowledge she's gained? Is there some last little scene we'd like to see out of you?
She's in such an interesting situation, I think, with like in terms of choosing sides and stuff. I think that I actually kind of like the idea actually of just as a cliffhanger, because I can't think of, I still don't want to choose such yet. I think maybe like at the very end of the of that conversation, the one of the drones just like bites through the like the wires in the ship, so the ship just goes, so the communications like cut off from the Reverend Mother, like at the end of the, so we don't like get to see how the nuns are there, the order's there, but communications kind of gone black. Yeah.
Oh, I love it. Oh, I love it. And so as the communications go down, we hear in the ship, we've lost communications, Princess. And around you, these warships have moved. You're being escorted down. And you see they've taken up position in front of the gate. It would certainly not look like they intend for you to leave. And I think that's where we'll end this story. We got just a very, very few minutes. It sounds like, Lauren, were you saying you don't think you'll be with us next week?
I think so. I'll double check and then let you know, which is a real shame. I didn't get to hug anyone, but I feel like I would have next episode.
And you do think you'll be here for the last one?
Yeah, I'll check my dates. But I think that's the order. I think I can make one, but not t'other, I think.
All right. And Tomer, that sounds like it would mean that you would be with us next week if you can manage to be sleep deprived. Excellent.
I can always manage to be sleep deprived.
Yay!
Fantastic. And we'll have Asher, who I've played with once before, but we'll quickly get him a character in and moving. Like I say, we've only got a few minutes. I'm not going to do like a full Wishes and Stars, Roses of Thorns thing, but I wouldn't mind getting like a wishes across real quick, just so we can maybe some things we'd like to see. We've saw a little bit of, how it's played, a little bit of what we can do. So I'd love to hear what folks would kind of like to see in these next two going forward. Ellen, do you mind terribly starting us off with wishes there?
That is only right. I'd like to see our resplendent first mother interact with the iridescent purple she. Two noble creatures, head to head. Very interesting.
Yeah, that was going to be my wish as well, to see making out. Shut up. To see.
Well, if you wanted to take some of my DNA, I think that would be.
Yeah, I'd like to see the purple sheep like being manipulated, because I don't really have in my head clearly what she's being offered, and I'm kind of purposefully leaving that all open. Okay. Yeah, like I kind of know what she wants, but like in terms of what she's being offered, that would be a cool thing to see.
I have an idea of something that I could offer, but we'll leave it for later.
Excellent. Cool. All right. Lauren, I know you're not here the next one, but you will be here for at least one more. So wishes.
I want to say more of the shitty teenage daughter rebelling against her mother. That was like the best.
It was awesome. It was so good.
And then if I do a quick status, thank you for putting up with my indulgent romantic bullshit. It's like my favorite kind of bullshit. So thank you.
Love it. Ryan, wishes.
And from a mechanic standpoint, I'd like to try my take a stand move, but that hasn't really made any sense yet. And I definitely want to see more of the Kedra. Just looks like she's totally come into the scheming side of things, and I like her attempts to manipulate stuff and then not being totally ready to deal with the fallout. And I really want to see Cypress get to use the spooked move, because that's going to look so cool when it happens. So many wishes for me, because I can. Because no one's
excellent. You're the font of all wishes there, Moonicorn. And Tomer.
Yeah, I'm going to echo a little bit of getting Kedua in over her head, but also with Owain. Because like I know that coming into this session, like I didn't really have too much of an idea of what Kedua would be like, even when she was kind of like the daughter of. I kind of like her personality was a lot more muted for me at first, you know, in my head. And then I think as soon as Ryan started playing Owain, like I just kind of started to fall into a little bit of the, you know, kind of that happy-go-lucky personality. Like parts of that just kind of infected, I think, where Kedua was going. It almost felt, and it didn't feel silly, but it almost feels almost like you're watching a little bit of like Avatar: The Last Airbender, right? There's a little bit of that humor with the sadness, right, and the big grave things going on, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I feel like I like to see the two of them get into more like over their head trouble. And you know, I think Kedua definitely thinks like, oh yeah, she's gonna show mother how this is done, and she's gonna take over, and you know. And I just want to keep pushing that, because like at the end when Ellen shut me down, like I felt shut down, and it was so great. I want more of that.
I agree. And for my wishes, and I'm going to, you know, since I'm GM, I could do things like this. I'm going to add some stars in with it. I thought, Ellen, you knocked it out of the park. I want to see more of that resplendent mother and how she does things. And I want to make sure that I'm giving you chances to be active. I found in running it that sometimes it seems like Space Worm gets kind of stuck in that place of power, or stuck somewhere. And I want to make sure I give you plenty of opportunities to interject yourself in doing things.
Yeah, I like how Kendua was still successful in defying me, and I feel like stuff like that will force my hand.
Cool. Good. Then we're on the same page. Lauren, I love this character. I love what you're doing with it. I hate to have you missing even one session. So I look forward. My wishes is that I will see you again at least once more. That will make me very happy, and it's certainly my wish. Lou, I want to make sure I'm also giving you plenty of time to do things. To you know, I want to make sure that you have those opportunities where you can interject too. Because again, Alien Queen is another one that can kind of be sitting to the back. I love that the brood.
Yeah, I'm kind of playing purposefully. I'm playing a slow game, I think, where I'm letting the world build up around me and purposefully watching it. But then I'm like probably in a I want to jump in and do something impactful that
Cool. And I'm gonna try and
but I'm having a lovely time as well, like in that role as well, of like spying on everyone and scheming. So that feels fun. Thank you.
Cool. I want to make sure that there are plenty of chances for you to use that brood, even if you don't come personally. The brood is so neat that it means you're there. So I want to make sure there are a lot of opportunities for that. Ryan, this Moonicorn, the self-deprecating nature, but at the same time, you know, you're accepting this adulation with, you know, that kind of, it's so nice. It's so well done. And, you know, for a wish, I want to get you into some conflict. I want to push to where these people have something they want from you. And I want to put you in the danger of, you know, if they get a hold of you, they're not going to let go. So I want to push that. That's a wish I want. And Tomer, I'm wishing that I get to see you more. It sounds like I will get to see you at least once more. I love this princess. Oh, so very good. So very good. And I want to give plenty of opportunities for you to kind of make that feel of, am I going to stay loyal to the mother, or is there something I'm going to do out there and make?
Yeah, as an extension to my wish, that I'm interested to see how that plays out, because the princess has a pretty strong bargaining chip, like, you know, in my court too. So a bargaining chip in my court. I don't know what sort of game that is, but anyway.
All right then. Well, gang, I thought this was a ton of fun. Thank you all for playing. I'm going to stop the broadcast real quick.